If you're not optimizing your BIOS, you're leaving FPS on the table and adding input delay without even knowing it. This is the difference between stock settings and a properly tuned BIOS. Smoother gameplay, lower latency, and more FPS. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to unlock your CPU's full potential for the fastest, most responsive gaming experience possible. So let's get right into it. Alright everyone, so whenever you're in the BIOS and you want to get this done, all we're going to do, find the tab where you can load optimized defaults, or it might be a button called load UEFI defaults. You're going to click enter on this and then press OK. And the reason we're doing this is just because you might have some settings from the past, or you might have just done some weird things in your BIOS, or it could be just some settings are already changed and you don't even know it, and this could cause issues later on. So once you've done that, we're going to go to Extreme Tweaker, and for the purposes of this video, we're just going to be using XMP. We're not going to be doing anything crazy. Before you pretty much reset everything, even though you might have already done so, you want to make sure that you save a profile just in case of whatever you had done last to your BIOS. This is just a completely stock BIOS optimization. We're not going to be doing any sort of overclocking. So first, XMP1 is the one that you're going to be using. XMP2 pretty much just loads the entire profile of your memory sticks on the motherboard. XMP1 loads some of it and then just trains the rest of the memory itself. So I recommend XMP1 because the motherboard tends to set it a little bit lower, and lower is always better as long as it's stable. Now, XMP, the speed might be a little bit too high for your motherboard. 7200 on this motherboard works absolutely fine with no issues. However, for you, 7200 on your specific motherboard might not be stable, and you might have to drop it down to, for example, 6800 or 6400. So that's for DDR5. For DDR4, it's kind of the same thing. So if you're on 4000 megahertz DDR4, you might have to drop it down to 3800, or do some manual tuning on your own time to figure out what causes 4000 megahertz to be stable. But for the purposes of this video, just set it to something that is going to be guaranteed to be stable on your motherboard, regardless of what you do. So set it to that. Intel Adaptive Boost technology, always disable this. And at SUSE Multec for enhancement, set this to enabled remove all limits. However, if you have a really bad CPU cooler, I would recommend enabled remove all limits 90 degrees. And what this is going to do is if you're running a stress test or if you're running a heavy workload, it'll just cap it at 90 degrees and start lowering the CPU speed down so it doesn't go above that. But since I have a really good cooler, I'm going to set it to enabled remove all limits without that setting. Then I'm going to scroll down, and performance core ratio for the purposes of this video and any 12th, 13th, and 14th gen CPU, you want to set this to sync all cores, and all core ratio limit, you want to set it to your CPU speed that it normally runs at. So I'm going to list just a bunch of CPUs and what they typically run at. So for 14900KS, you're going to set this to 57. For 13900KS, you're going to set this to 56, just like me. And if you have a 13900K or KF, you're going to set it to 54. And if you have a 13700K or KF, 53. A 14700K or KF is going to be 54. Make sure to set it to those values. Don't set it higher, don't set it lower. Just set it to those values or whatever the peak cores usually run at for the purposes of this video. We're not going to be overclocking. If you want to learn how to overclock your Intel CPU, go to the previous video with these same exact settings, and you'll be getting good overclock that will give you more FPS and better input delay. Scroll down, DRAM timing control. As you guys can see, there are some stuff that you can change in here that I've shown in the past, and that is going to be DRAM RES to RES delay L and DRAM RES to RES delay S. You can set these both to 8 if you're on 32 gigabytes of RAM. If you're on 48 gigabytes of RAM, you're going to set the first one that ends in L to 12 and the second one to 8. Then you can scroll down, and DRAM refresh interval, you can usually set this to 3276. Then that's pretty much all you have to do in this page, and you can just go back. Then we're going to scroll down. Thermal velocity boost, I don't really recommend using any of these, and you can just disable all of them just like so. Scroll down, go to Tweaker's Paradise, and what I recommend is disabling the spread spectrum options, as these can cause some extra latency. Then ring down bin, same thing here, disable that. And BCLK aware adaptive voltage, this really messes up with overclocking, so you want to disable it if you're going to be overclocking in the future. But either way, I would recommend just disabling it completely. Then go to the advanced tab and go to platform misconfiguration. You're going to pretty much disable everything in here because everything in here is PCI Express power saving options. Now, the goal with optimizing our BIOS is we're disabling any power saving options or any useless options that can cause stutters, FPS drops, and higher latency. Then go back, go to CPU configuration. And now for almost everyone, disable Intel virtualization technology unless you need virtualization based security enabled for whatever reason, but for most of us we don't really need it, so you can just disable that. Active efficient cores, if you just play Fortnite, Valorant, and some of these games that only scale with performance cores, you could completely just disable this and set it to 0. However, if you play Call of Duty, you want to set this to all, because E-cores do help a little bit. Whenever it comes to Call of Duty, you get around 30 to 40 more FPS on the CPU side in the benchmark just from having E-cores enabled. So if you play Call of Duty or you play a whole variety of games, practically better to leave efficiency cores on. Now, if you are on Windows 10, just completely disable them, because Windows 10 doesn't really work that well with efficiency cores. But if you're on Windows 11, you can set it to all and you should be fine. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to set it to 0 because most of my followers are playing Fortnite and Valorant, and some people do end up playing some Call of Duty here and there. Now, hyperthreading, you can pretty much disable this unless you're going to be doing some heavy workloads that actually need 2 threads per activated core. But if you just care about latency and you care about input delay and you just care about the maximum FPS and performance in gaming, you can just disable this. Now, just keep in mind stuff like rendering stuff and Blender and all this other stuff that requires more threads and more cores will be diminished due to disabling the E-cores and disabling hyperthreading. But this is going to lower your temperatures and it's going to provide lower latency, more FPS potentially in a lot of competitive games, and you're just going to notice a lot more snappier feeling in games. Then go to CPU power management control, boot performance mode, turbo performance, Intel speed step. If you're on ASRock, you want to keep this enabled. However, for every other motherboard, you could disable it. Intel speed shift technology, disable it. Turbo mode, obviously leave that enabled. CPU C states, if you have a really bad CPU cooler, leave this on auto, do not disable it. However, if you have a decent CPU cooler and it can handle your CPU at stock frequencies without any issues, you can disable it. And thermal monitor, same thing here as CPU C states. If you have a bad CPU cooler, leave this enabled. If you have a good CPU cooler, you can just leave it on disabled. Then go back by pressing Inkscape twice, go to system agent configuration. Same thing as Intel virtualization technology. If you don't use virtualization based security for Valorant or Counter-Strike, you can just disable this and you don't have any issues. Then go back, go to Thunderbolt configuration. PCIe tunneling over USB 4 is completely useless for literally 99% of you, so you can just disable this. Then go back, go to PCI subsystem settings. Above 4G decoding and resizable bar support doesn't really do anything in a lot of games that everyone plays. Now, I know a lot of these YouTube videos are like, oh, here's how you can get free performance from the video. They've never tested the setting properly, and from my testing that I'm going to throw up right here, you can see that resizable bar reduces your 1% lows and 0.1% lows by 100 in Fortnite. Now, Call of Duty players already know that this setting kind of just messes up their FPS, but for guys that play Fortnite, Valorant, and some of these other games, they have no idea that it actually messes up the 1% lows. So disable this setting. It's not good to use unless you know for a fact 100% certainty that the game you're playing, which could be like Assassin's Creed or Tomb Raider, some of these single player games that you know for a fact that give you more performance with this setting on, then leave it on. But for 99% of you that play competitive games and most popular games out there, just disable it. It has no reason to be enabled. Just disable resizable bar support and above 4G decoding. Make sure you disable both, not just one or the other. Then go back, go to USB configuration, XHCI handoff. Make sure this is set to enabled, especially if you're going to be using a mouse that is 8000 Hz or 4000 Hz. Go back, scroll down to the bottom, go to onboard devices configuration, and here's where you could potentially disable some of the extra things that come with your motherboard that you potentially don't need. So USB audio, I'm going to disable it because I just use a headset with a dongle that plugs into the motherboard, not really a audio jacks or any of that sort. Tell LAN, if you have a network adapter that plugs into the PCI Express lane, you can disable this. However, for all of you, leave this enabled. USB power delivery and soft off state. This pretty much disables the USB power whenever your PC is turned off, so you can't charge your phone or whatever whenever it's turned off. So for all of you, just pretty much disable it. It's pretty much useless. Wi-Fi, if you don't use Wi-Fi on your PC at all, disable this. However, in case you need Wi-Fi for whatever reason in the future, just remember that you did disable it in BIOS. Bluetooth controller, same thing here. If you don't use Bluetooth, you can pretty much set this to disabled and you're pretty much good to go. LED lighting, if you don't want RGB working on your PC, you can turn this off, and this will lower your temperatures in a lot of areas on the motherboard, and this could potentially reduce your EMI and you could get lower input delays just by turning this off. Then scroll down. As media controllers, these are extra USB controllers that you do not need. So if you don't use certain USB ports, and you can just switch the USB ports around for your mouse and keyboard or controller, you can just disable both of these or however many that you've got, and you should be good to go. Then GNA devices, make sure that's disabled as well. Then go to tool, and you're gonna go to ASUS Armory Crate. You're gonna pretty much disable this as this is not needed, and you might have different names for whatever motherboard you're using. It could be MSI driver utility installer, it could be Gigabyte download and install configuration, or it could be auto driver installer for ASRock. Either way, just make sure these apps are disabled, because if they run in the background, they take a lot of memory, a lot of CPU. It can cause a lot of stutters and a lot of FPS drops that you don't even know why they're happening. It could be just these applications running in the background. So disable them. They're not needed. If they are needed, just find alternatives that do not run in the background, like OpenRGB or Signal RGB. Then you're going to press the back button. If you have a way to save this profile in your BIOS by going to ASUS user profile or overclocking profiles or user default profiles in your BIOS, make sure to save this, because just in case one day your PC decides to reset the BIOS because of a power outage, you can just load this profile instantly up and you'll be right back to good performance and lower input delay. But that's going to be pretty much it for the majority of the BIOS settings. One other extra thing that you could do is go to Q fan control or the fan control in your BIOS and set every single fan to full speed. And what this is going to do is going to ensure that your CPU is not going to overheat for whatever reason, along with your RAM, along with your graphics card, along with all these other components in your PC that could potentially benefit from your fans pulling more air through the front of the. Make sure you have AIO pump and any pump in your PC set to full speed. That's really important. Then press exit, and again we're going to save this as a profile. For example, you would just save it as optimized, or for example silly BIOS, and then save it on a profile. I'm not going to save it because I already have it saved, so we should be chilling. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load the profile for my second profile. But other than that, all you have to do now is just click save changes and reset, and you will notice that pretty much your PC is going to take a little bit longer to restart, because you pretty much reset all of the BIOS and you just redid it from scratch. So now you're going to get better performance, lower input delay, and you're not going to have issues with running into crashes or any of these weird things that could happen potentially because of past done. That's going to be pretty much it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and make sure to comment down below if this helped you. If you guys want this all done for you, along with CPU overclocking, RAM overclocking, GPU overclocking, and a custom optimized Windows where we go through your whole entire computer and pretty much optimize it, then go to the first link in the description and book an ultimate PC optimization service with the best, and we'll be talking with you shortly. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.